Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. And today I'm joined by two of our correspondents whose teams are playing in this game week. That's a blank game week, and it's on Friday night. Suj, do not miss the Friday deadline. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Wolverhampton Wanderers correspondent, Bradley Parker. How are you, Bradley?
Very good, thank you.
Good man. And our Leeds United correspondent, Andy Martin's in. How are you, Andy?
Very well, James. Thanks for having me again.
Good stuff. Bradley, let me start with yourself, mate. What are Wolves at the moment? Are they overachieving? Have you underachieved recently? What are you and what's left for this season, do you think?
I think we're probably in the right place for the players we've got, really. I think defensively we're doing that well because our attack is a bit... On paper, our attack on the paper looks fine to me, but they just don't score enough goals like they should. I mean, Trincao misses about 6 sitters. I mean, he's not even in the picture anymore anyway. He brings Chiquinho on before him, so that one's not worked out. Podence has got loads of talent, but doesn't. He started hitting the back of the net a bit more now, but he's still not going to be a guy to put your hat on when the chance falls his way. And Raul's still a bit shaky with his form.
Are Wolves just back to kind of peak at their best under Nuno, or is this something different?
No, it's something different. We use the ball a lot better. Like yesterday, we had 63% of the ball, I think, which I can't really remember having that much of the ball under Nuno. Especially now Neves is pushed a lot higher up the pitch. He's just purring at the minute. I mean, it was a joke how good he was against Everton. Complete domination in the second half.
Presumably Neves has signed his new contract, just so you get a higher transfer fee in the summer, or?
I'm begging. We have to get European football. If Neves and Moutinho leave in the same summer, my mum's going to have to lock up the bleach in the house or something. I'm telling you.
Bradley, don't do anything stupid, mate. It's just football. There's more important things. But is European football still a realistic aim? And I know you're you're seventh at the moment, time recording, we should say. We're recording this on Monday night prior to the Wednesday night games. You're seventh at the moment. You're certainly in the mix. European qualification could go down to seventh, and he's probably likely to do so, actually. Have you written off fourth, or do you still think you got
I never
a shot?
I never thought that was realistic anyway. I was always Europa League, really.
But
European
European
really
football?
achievable. Yeah, we can do it, but we might come short one day because we might shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to scoring a goal. That is the big problem.
We'll come back onto some of them forward players. Mr. Martin, much relief on Sunday against Norwich. I saw your tweet, one of the 700 tweets that I think you sent out on Sunday, saying that you were prepared to consign Leeds to relegation when Norwich equalised. Was that really how you felt?
I don't think I'd be here tonight if we had a joined that game.
Well, you got bleach as well, have you?
Yeah, I think I'll do a Bradley and get the bleach out.
Bleach party.
Bleach party. Honestly, I mean, I was at work, so I wasn't even watching it yesterday afternoon out to work. And I was following it obviously on my phone, all the big chances, all the stuff we were creating. Like, how is this still 1-0? Even just from the live text, like, I can't believe what's going on. And then I went into the staff room. I knew it was about full time. I was like, give me 5 minutes in the staff room. And I was like, yeah, fine, go ahead. Watching the ticker, seeing that Norwich goal go in, I nearly threw my phone across the room. I couldn't believe it, like, from what I'd read on the live text. And then chucked my phone down on the side and actually walked out the staff room back to work. Not the best frame of mind. And I didn't actually know the full-time result until...
Are you still employed?
Yeah, I'm still employed, don't worry. They love me there. It's fine. But then 20 minutes later, I didn't know the score until like 15, 20 minutes later when I went back in and saw that, and then just ecstatic. And then I've seen the Joe Gelhardt got Joffrey goal about 1 million times since. So unbelievable feeling, ecstatic, relief. The 3 points is the biggest 3 points for years and years.
For those, I take it you've seen highlights of the game back since.
I've watched the whole game this afternoon. Yeah.
Cool. What did you think when you saw Pookie's? I mean, obviously you knew, but Pookie's shot that hit Meslier in the face even after Gelhardt's goal.
Oh no, what was that? 98th minute or something?
Yeah, ridiculous.
To just hit Meslier's face square on, and like that chance is so big, and like if we'd have drawn again like that, if they'd equalised again, it'd just been a nightmare. But
where are you at? Does that change everything now? Like you've got a little bit of a buffer now over the 4 teams below you. Do you feel psychologically that's I mean, it's obviously massive to win the game, but do you feel assured now that you've got that buffer, you'll be all right and can push on from here?
I just think the next 3 games, so we've got Wolves, Southampton and Watford. The Watford, obviously, because they're down there with us, is a must-win. So it comes down to the games you have to do a must-win. And if we pick up maybe 1 or 2 points against Wolves and Saints, as long as we beat Watford, it's another step towards safety. And I think there's games in the last 10 games that we can win. But yes, we just had to get 3 points. It's just, you look at Norwich at home, you have to get 3 points. Otherwise, it's just, horrendous. But what a feeling, though.
You got it. That's the most important thing. I was extremely alarmed with what I watched last Thursday against Villa, mate. And I've not seen all of your game on Sunday. But I felt like of all the bad Leeds days I'd seen over the last 18 months, and there's been plenty of very, very good ones in there, that was the worst performance I felt. You looked, for the first time, I really thought there's nothing there that sets you apart from anybody else in this league.
No, completely. And before yesterday, I had Norwich down to win. After Thursday,
I changed my mind, Joe.
I thought that's it. Raphinha looked angry, sad, frustrated. He holds it all together, and I thought, there's no way his head could be right for Sunday. How was he? He was so angry and just so frustrated. And I thought he'd lost it, and I'm happy to say I was wrong because he really stepped up again yesterday. I thought there's no way after Thursday's performance how we come back from that. We just looked toothless up top. Couldn't get anything going on Thursday night. Villa dominated, and I was worried that Norwich would be the better team, but luckily they weren't.
Would you say Norwich are down now?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's big for them as well. Like they probably looked at yesterday and thought, it felt
like a last chance, and the way you played Thursday, a little bit like yourself. I couldn't believe how bad you were on Thursday. I felt like if Villa had wanted to, they could have gone and got 4 or 5 goals in the last 10 minutes. It was gone. Mentally was gone in the game, and
the crowd turned as well, which hasn't happened in years and years. Like,
but the atmosphere looked like it was better on Sunday, where everyone rallied around and realised whatever you think about Bielsa going and stuff, and we'll come back to that. That like you had to get the points right. That became a priority over whatever anybody's emotional feelings were about Marsch or Bielsa or anything. You had to win the game.
Yeah, and it's galvanised us a lot. I think once Rodrigo scored after 12 minutes. The fans are up, like, okay, and it was constant for the whole time, so which is good to see. And I thought if Norwich had scored first yesterday, it could have gone the other way. It could have gone really toxic, and then again the players' heads are down, and it kind of then they start to play badly again. So I'm pleased we got the early goal yesterday because I think that picks everyone up and kind of like we're fighting for this now. Let's go.
Bradley, you just paid Watford and Everton. How do you see Leeds fitting in with this battle? I think we're down. Brentford are nearly safe now. I think the battle between the 5 teams at the bottom. How do you see it?
I think Leeds will be all right. I mean, Watford was. I thought that Watford game was going to be difficult because it's Roy Hodgson coming here, and I thought here he comes getting his points, good old Roy. But I just couldn't be bothered to do the basics of chase down midfield and Everton and. There's something psychological with Everton. They look completely rudderless yesterday. Especially, I mean, like Decore usually play that I don't like playing against because the Wolves midfield doesn't usually like athletic players. But even here yesterday, he was just completely ineffective. So I think Leeds will be all right as long as Raphinha stays fit. But CotC, I just can't see the other teams getting momentum at all. Everton's fixtures and like diabolical.
Yeah, the only thing with Everton's fixtures is if you look at them and the games that are arranged, it looks absolutely terrible from beyond Newcastle on Thursday night. But actually, the 4 games that haven't yet been arranged are all very winnable for them. Burnley, Crystal Palace, Leicester and Watford. And actually, if you throw them all in, Everton's fixtures don't look quite so bad, actually. But you right saying about even like Decore, Bradley, last Monday against us, non-existent. I mean, they were pathetic at Tottenham the other week. Bradley mentions Raphinha, Andy. I mean, is he still? There's been so much talk about him, and that's obviously going to be the case in the FPL community. I think it's kind of wavered between he's not interested, he is interested, he wants to leave, he's fighting for the shirt. It looks like he did everything within his capability on Sunday to try and win the game for you. Is Bradley right though in terms of what he's saying? Like, it still hinges on he's got to stay fit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, after yesterday. I mean, Thursday night, I was so reactionary and people said sleep on it, Andy, because I was like, I'm getting Raphinha out. I'll get Raphinha out for Martinelli. I'm done. Like, I've had him all season, but I don't know if he'll come back from this. And then people were like, Andy, sleep on it. You'll regret it. It's Norwich on Sunday. I was like, okay, I'll sleep on it. And then I kept him in the team, and I'm glad I did, because yesterday I saw that he does care. He wants to fight for us to stay up. He put everything into that 90 minutes performance. He was incredible, the whole 90 minutes. So I think that, yeah, he is obviously the talisman, obviously the link to everything that we do well. And if he's not fit, I don't see how we create too much without him. So for me, it is Raphinha or bust, really. I think he's got to play every minute of every game to keep us ticking over with points. So, yeah.
And a word for Bielsa, Andy?
Sad day. Yeah, I was just numb all day, numb all week, that week that he went. And even when Jesse Marsch comes in so quickly, it's like, how dare you stand where he stood? And like,
it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. And he
spoke really well.
He spoke so well. And
yeah.
I really respect what he said. He knows it, he understands it, he gets it. He's a really good speaker, he's really positive. He understands, obviously, how sad the Leeds fans would be with Bielsa, but I think he's adapted so well, and I really like him. I think he's a good coach, and there's not many people I would have welcomed, but Jesse Marsch is a good appointment after Bielsa. I mean, if it's someone, imagine like someone like Allardyce walking into after Bielsa or something. Yeah. So Marsch is a good transition to have from Bielsa. So
all the research I did, Andy, told me that it was a very good appointment. And you played quite well at Leicester. Then what, as kind of harping back to the Villa game, what I watched that night scared me because it looked like, you're not following instructions here already, like in the manager's first home game. Yeah. So what's changed from Bielsa? Something obviously has. Something worked at Leicester. Something worked against Norwich. Something definitely didn't against Villa. What's changed?
The structure's better. So I like the structure, how he's got 2 number 6s now, where Bielsa would probably just go with a 1. So yesterday we saw Forshaw and Click play in front of the 2 centre-backs, which I quite like. I think it gives us more protection. When you put 1 in there, I know we can do it at Calvin Phillips, but you can't do it with just like Adam Forshaw on his own, because it just opens up so many gaps. So that's good. I think the transition, we're still attacking wise. I think that like on the counter still good. So when we win the ball back, we still want to attack and we still want to flood forward, which is good. But yeah, the way yesterday when we started with Bamford, I think it's good that the way he plays, you have there's players around Bamford more. So he kind of tucks in the forwards. They're not as wide as they were under Bielsa, so that it makes the pitch a lot smaller, which is better. Because when we do lose the ball, lose possession, the other team won't be so easy for the opposition to get chances on our goal, which I quite like. So yeah, it's changed things. I think it's adapting to how Marsch does it, but I like the structure. It looks more defensively better, but still got attacking options as well.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things obvious that changed from a Villa game in terms of personnel was CotC coming out of the midfield. For me, he's not a midfield player for me.
No, he's not.
Firpo, it's a real shame that he obviously got the injury late in the Villa game, but he'd not been playing well, mate, at all.
No, I was going to say as well, Dallas and Ayling. Just having his fullbacks, it just works so much better, right?
Well, back to that, because obviously Marsch has real demands on his fullbacks to provide basically all the width, because he wants his 2 wide midfielders, if you will, to act as outside 10s. So it's up to the fullbacks to provide the width. Raphinha played off the left to start with on Sunday, Andy. Is that the way it stayed throughout, or did he move? He certainly started on the left, didn't he?
All very central. I thought James, Bamford and Raphinha all very central. It changed obviously when Harrison came on at half-time. Yeah. But yeah, I liked it how when Bamford, because Bamford obviously is great at holding up the ball, I liked how close James and Raphinha were. It wasn't necessarily coming off the left. I think they were all just interchanging and close as more of a three, with Rodrigo kind of sitting off slightly. But the way I saw it yesterday is it's more like the two centre-backs. Then you've got the four. So the wide men of Dallas and Ayling with Click and Forshaw. Then you've got Rodrigo, then like a front three is the way I saw it yesterday, which worked quite well, I thought.
Bradley, would you rather play this Leeds or would you have rather played Bielsa's Leeds?
I don't really know much about this one, so I'm just going to say Bielsa's.
Is that because you've had fair success? I mean, it seems like an extraordinary stat, actually, that in the 3 games you played each other so far, Wolves have won 1-0 twice and the other was 1-1. And that was a late Rodrigo penalty at Ellen Road earlier this season. So you've only conceded once in 3 games against Leeds, which was an injury time penalty, won by Jossie, I believe. Andy, is that correct pronunciation? Joffy. That was the first time we saw young Gelhardt, really, wasn't it? It was in the game against Wolves earlier this season. Why do you think, Bradley, you've had success against them defensively?
I just think we stop them swarming. We don't let them build up that steam that they usually do and they try and like overwhelm you. When it was Bielsa anyway, we never this season at Ellen Road we lost a bit of composure, I think, because they really come at us the second half and we were getting penned in and we paid the price in the end. But I think the manager was probably made some wrong subs in that game, which invited the pressure on a bit. But most of the time, like against Leeds, we don't usually allow the steaming forward of pressure. So I feel comfortable. Like I know we won because like Adama had that shot that bounced off Meslier's back and Raul.
As predicted by Mr. Martin, who, for those who don't remember, in the days prior to that famous goal last year, which was that a Friday night game as well? Or
it was a Friday night game. I also triple captained Raphinha, and in that game,
of course, it was game week 25, the Leeds double. Yeah,
created 5 big chances that game. Raphinha.
Yeah. We know Raphinha can't ever reach his XG numbers, Andy. What was the stat I saw? Raphinha over the last 5 games has got a higher goal involvement XG than Jesse Lingard had in all of his games for West Ham last year, or something crazy like that. Listen, if Raphinha ever hit his numbers, and that's why people adore him and also don't want him in their FPL teams, depends which side of the fence you sit on. But yeah, in that game last year, a couple of days before, Andy tweeted that you hadn't seen a goal in ages fly back off the woodwork and hit the goalkeeper's arse and go in. And actually, that's exactly what happened to his own team a couple of days later. Couldn't write that script. You got any other mad predictions for this one, Andy?
Not for this one, no. I did tweet yesterday that Thomas Partey is going to outscore Salah.
Yeah, we saw that. As I said to you off camera, mate, if you tweet enough things, mate, something will stick, which is correct eventually, won't it? Exactly. Do you think, Andy, there's a reason why you've struggled against Wolves specifically? I'd say struggled might be harsh, but no goals from open play in the 3 previous meetings.
It's not nice playing Wolves, is it, really? I think a Nuno side as well is your defence is kind of sat back in and it's always, they're not expansive. I don't see Wolves an expansive team. Like if it's full-blooded, head-to-head, both teams attack, Leeds have got a chance. But when Wolves have been just playing Adama on the break and sat back in, then it's hard to break them down because they are good defensively. So you've got players like Saiss, Kilman, Cody. Any balls crossing into the box, you fancy those centre-backs to block it, head it out. So yeah, often it's Wolves' strength is good defenders doing their jobs properly.
Do you think, Bradley, losing Traore, has that taken something away? And I know he wasn't a regular starter, but he did offer you a weapon that not many other players in world football can obviously compete with.
It's taken away the transition in attack, especially off the bench in the last 20 minutes. But Chiquinho's looked okay in some of his plays. He's not as fast as him. Nobody's as fast as him, but he's certainly offering something off the bench in that sort of similar vein, but he's obviously not as powerful. But it's similar-ish.
What do you think happened when you played Palace? Why do you think that game was so particularly bad? Because you'd had this run where I think a few of us, and I'd said, look, these big games coming up, let's judge them afterwards in terms of whether they're a real threat for top four or not. You had the defeats at Arsenal, West Ham. That can happen. You lost both games narrowly. They're probably the right result in both games, but you lost narrowly. Then the Palace game, you got battered first half. What was it specifically that happened that day, do you think?
Number one, Podence as the centre forward.
Okay.
Number two, Conor Gallagher, super high up. Their midfield, otherwise, as soon as you got the ball, they're pressured high. We boot it because they just had no composure that day. You're booting it to Podence. He doesn't hold the ball up. Comes back, they get the ball. It's just a constant recycle. We just got absolutely pressed out of our minds. And then I'm pretty sure Markel started that game as well with Say. So then pair was not great together.
So Palace have normally been playing Palace have normally been playing a 4-3-3, but you're right. Gallagher basically played more like an orthodox number 10 against you and basically played a 4-2-3-1 and got in your face and pressed you. That's exactly what Leeds are going to do.
I'd say Palace have got better quality though to do it.
Oh, Andy Martin.
I agree.
No, I think at the moment Bradley is right in terms of various weapons with Gallagher, Zaha, and Elise all played that game.
Very good.
And Mateta played quite well against you, I think, didn't he?
He won a lot of headers,
How he led the line and stuff, yeah. So I think that's true. But in terms of off the ball style, in terms of making you feel uncomfortable, Leeds might come and do the same, mate.
It doesn't, because I was already worried about Conor Gallagher anyway. But the midfield for Leeds doesn't frighten me as much because Calvin Phillips won't be there. I mean, is it going to be Forshaw and Click? I mean, like, they don't strike me that they're going to be able to with Neves at the minute anyway.
As opposed to Schlupp and Chiarte?
Chiarte is one of them. He's like a Decore player. He's just one of those players that...
Oh, so Chiarte was good against you, was he?
Athletic, tall, strong. I was like, oh no, here we go.
We're losing Bradley a little bit there. Oh. Andy, fair points he makes there?
Yeah, I would say that the Palace probably got better quality of players than what we've got. I think Forshaw and Click did well yesterday. I think, obviously, it's only Norwich. It's hard to judge on that. But I thought Click put in a good performance. You just worry about his legs sometimes. Like, is he quick enough? Does he cover the ground well enough? But yeah, I think the way we're playing, hopefully with two number sixes, a bit more structure. But off the ball work, I think Rodrigo James does some good off the ball work, and he'll press all day, and he can put in a good challenge as well. So he is someone that tries to win the ball back. I was impressed with what he did yesterday.
I part mention it, Bradley, because I just want people to have a second thought before they dive into Wolves defensively, because I'm getting the feeling off you. You fancy a clean sheet might be on this Friday.
I'll back us every game now to get clean sheets most of the time.
All right. So which three should I get on free hit this week?
I won't go that far.
Why not? Why not? You're probably the favourites to keep a clean sheet from the 8 teams playing this week.
I just think it's tempting fate.
I know it's tempting fate. It's probably 6 points from 3 players, isn't it? But all right, let's talk about it then. Centre backs, or wait, let's skip the goalkeeper for the moment. Centre backs. I get a sense from you. You think Saïs might be dropped.
He should. The way he's played since AFCON, he should be, because he just seems to be really slow to react. I think, like, even if he gets the ball, it takes him ages to get it at his feet. Where the first half of the season before AFCON, he was really good at like putting the ball into the right channels to start attacks. But recently, he's just booted a lot of them out of play.
Fatigue, you think?
I'm not sure, because we gave him time off when he come back, because Totti would come in and Totti was fine.
He did quite well.
And now Bolly's back, so really, Large would be probably better off at the minute, just putting Kilman to the left and putting Bolly to the right, and that's probably your best three-man central defence.
Is that what you definitely do? Is shift Kilman from right to left?
He should do if he's going to put Bolly with Cody and Kilman, because then you've got the balance.
I feel like you're the only team I've ever seen have left-footed players on the right side of centre back, mate. But it's worked.
It's only because he's good enough.
Yeah, but to be fair, Saiss has played that position for you in the past as well as the right-sided centre back in a back three. It's something you did even under Nuno as well. It would feel a bit odd to me though to take Saiss out off the back of back-to-back clean sheets when he's played in both, and there's 5 days gap from Sunday to the Leeds game on Friday, and then it's international break afterwards. It would seem a little bit odd to drop him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. But I think when you're watching it happening and Bolly back, the way Bolly played, I was thinking, I mean, he's dropped Raul and stuff, so out the blue. He's sometimes a bit unpredictable.
All right, I'm going to ask you, Bradley, for the three centre-backs, give me a percentage in terms of likelihood of them starting on Friday night, unless there's an injury between us recording on Friday. Connor Cody, percentage
100.
of starting, 100. Kilman?
90.
And Saiss?
80.
Okay, that's pretty secure. Fair enough. What would you fancy from the three of them? Because there will be people thinking, tell you what, might be a different manager. Leeds can still be exploited on set pieces. Which one? If you were going just for the one game, which one would you go for?
It's always going to be safe, but Connor Cody just seems to be a
goal-scoring machine all of a sudden,
goal-scoring machine. More than Messi. more league goals than Messi in March. Back.
Yeah, we covered that on the Patreon pod Monday, Bradley. Yeah, we're not covering it again now, mate. Yeah, Connor Cody, the GOAT. I mean, I only know one person who tweets things out and actually calls himself a GOAT in his own tweets. Hello, Cristiano Ronaldo, you weirdo. Markel, mate.
What about him?
Who's playing left wing back, mate? Come on, which one's it going to be?
Got to be Aït-Nouri.
I really hope so. He's in my team. I need Aït-Nouri to start.
And it's just, I just think Aït-Nouri. I just think at the minute, it doesn't look like he can do 2 games a week for some bizarre reason. I think that's the only reason.
Yeah,
there's no more logic to it than that, because the levels above he is as a footballer is crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you, Bradley, in terms of, and I think this might come back to Laj's very strange comments about Kai Hoover after he got injured. That was the Palace game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where he was, it was crazily critical. And he seemed to suggest that there might be other young players who perhaps weren't preparing properly for games. If we look at the games that Aït-Nouri has missed, he's obviously missed the Everton game after playing Watford on the Thursday. He didn't play Palace 28, didn't play West Ham 27, and he was only a substitute at Arsenal on a Thursday night in 24. It's the Palace game in 28. I don't understand why he didn't play.
Neither did I.
You thought there might be something, the fact he didn't play against Arsenal. You said to me, you thought there might be something that he didn't want him to play against Saka. And I guess in Michael Elise, Palace have a similar player who can come off the right onto his left foot, might cause similar problems. Don't Leeds have a similar player to that as well?
It's really hard to say, because there's no logic to it, because he played him against the best one in the world, against Salah, and he had an absolute stormer.
And he was very good at Man City earlier in the season as well.
He can defend. There's no real logic to it. Like with Saka, I think I said on the pod, the way I think about football, I'd rather have Aït-Nouri making Saka think, because Markel's not going to make him think. If I was Saka, I would just look at it going, oh sweet, I'm having it all my own way today. I don't have to think about going backwards, because Marcel turns inside or goes back all the time.
What have you got Wolves defensive at the moment, Bradley?
Aït-Nouri. I did have Kilman for a bit, but then I swapped Aït-Nouri around just for an extra point of money I needed.
Do you think Aït-Nouri will start on Friday?
Yeah.
Andy, have you got him as well? Is that what you were trying to say?
I have, yeah. I mean, I needed a cheaper Wolves defender. so I could afford Kane. And I went Aït-Nouri believing that he was back fit and going to play all the games. And then so not in the squad yesterday, or not in the team yesterday, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a nightmare. But if Brad's confident that he's going to start, then it's not an issue, hopefully.
I assume you're not free hitting, Andy?
Not free hitting, no.
No, Bradley, you're not?
No.
You're not. Okay. Isn't the solution for free hitters especially just to buy Johnny?
Yeah, he's
at 4.5.
Yeah, he's playing 100%.
What's his fitness like? Because obviously, I mean, he's been so unlucky with injuries, not just this season, but in previous seasons. How does he look?
Sharp.
Good.
I'm really impressed. The way he's come back twice. I was saying to him, because I forgot how good he is. It's just his consistency in like everything he does, his touch, his passing, decision making defensively. He's always plays at like 7 out of 10 is his average. I can't remember him ever having a bad game for us. It's a big boost he's back. It's good in playing on the right, actually. He seems a bit more able to go forward a lot easier than when he was playing on the left. So Semedo's not guaranteed to walk back into the team when he's fit.
The only concern I think I'd have, because I think for free hitters, he's an obvious one where the general players coming into this game week obviously won't buy anyway. I think you'd probably go more secure with one of the centre backs, or I think people would actually probably still more likely take the chance on Aït-Nouri rather than Johnny in most cases, because of fear of obviously not being back for long. And plus Hover and Semedo, I think, could be back on the other side of the international break. Hover's probably quicker than Semedo, but at least in Johnny's case for free hitters, those two players aren't available this week. So it stands at the time of recording anyway. Fine, in for 1 week. Haven't got to worry about it afterwards. It seems ideal, but also in the 2 clean sheets, he's been nowhere near the bonus, mate.
Yeah. He's just your bog standard 4.5 now.
And Aït-Nouri's the more likely to get the attack in return, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's on set pieces when he plays. So.
Is he? Never's not on everything, no?
Not everything. Aït-Nouri, he'll take the corners from the left.
What would you say Aït-Nouri's chances are of coming on as a substitute if he doesn't start?
If we're losing, high.
Okay. We didn't come on in that Palace game.
No. But usually, he has brought him on before when we was losing. I can't remember which game.
I think that's the fear for me, is I'd like to go for Aït-Nouri. What I don't want it to be is that 15-minute appearance at the end. But then, if he's only going to come on, you're losing anyway. I wouldn't have been getting the clean sheet points in the first place anyway. So where would you go with it, Bradley? If I said you can only have one of them, where would you go? I'm including the centre-backs as well in this.
Just for the security code here.
You boring son of a...
If you just want to... you want guaranteed at least a 2-pointer, then...
I don't want a guaranteed 2-pointer, mate. I want a 6-pointer or so. I think for most people, free hitting, they're probably going to have one. And it is a case of that. It's, Cody will definitely play, or can I chance it with Aït-Nouri? I wonder if, because money's not going to be a problem for a lot of people, I wonder if some people might even consider going with 2. I think a lot might. I might even do that myself. Go with 2.
I'll take the goalie then.
And so you'd rather go with Saar?
You may as well if you're going to pick 2.
Well, money's not going to be an option, a consideration for free hitters. What would you say to people who are looking to buy a goalkeeper this week? Would you say Saar or Ramsdale?
Probably Saar, because Villa have got quite a good chance of attacking returns. The way I think at home, especially Villa score a lot of goals at home, don't they? So
don't ruin it for me this week, and Bradley. I could do with us getting a couple this particular Saturday, to be very honest with you. Andy, any love for your new flying fullbacks then? Ayling 4.3 or Dallas the midfielder at 4.9? Any love?
No. I don't
take it defensively. This is just an avoid, is it?
Yeah, it's an avoid. I mean, it's very punty if you go for a Leeds defender. Very punty indeed. I don't see how you would punt on a Leeds defender.
Do you see? No, I don't. I can't make a case to even make a good conversation out of it, to be honest, at the moment. But would you say Llorente and Struijk are likely to stay as first choice? I know Llorente probably won't stay fit for more than a week, but
I don't know. Struijk's been a bit hit and miss, but I think whilst Cooper's out for another few weeks, I think it'll be Struijk still. But yeah, after the international break, you could have Phillips and Cooper back. So, yeah, Struijk for now. I think Struijk's obviously going to play against Wolves, but no, after that, can't see it. I don't think it's been too great.
I take it you did keep Raphinha after that night's sleep.
I did, yeah.
Have you slept well enough that you're now considering captaining him?
Oh, no, I wouldn't captain him.
Okay, that covers that one. He's the obvious one, isn't he? In terms of offensive assets.
Yeah, I mean, even for free hitters, you've got to go with Raphinha. I still think.
Have you got to?
I think you still have to. Just if he does turn up and everything does go in this time.
Yeah, it's always an if with him. This is the only thing, Andy. And
it's coming. I feel it.
Yeah, so's Christmas, mate. I've experienced both sides of this. I've experienced the owning him and getting great returns, the owning him and missing the returns, the not owning him and laughing at everybody else, not owning him and going, oh my God, I have to buy this guy immediately. I think he's not a must for free hitters because Bradley's team is very good defensively. And in terms of midfield options this week, you've got Son, Kulusevski, Jared Bowen. We don't know fitness at the moment, but I think generally would still be a consideration if he is fit. You've got Saka, Martinelli, Coutinho. What's the other game I've forgotten about? Bradley,
Leicester,
that's on the weekend.
Barnes,
Maddison. Tielemans is probably on pens. Christian Eriksen. Yeah, all right, Bradley. Christian Eriksen set pieces against Leicester. No, go on then, Bradley. Ruben Neves, go on. He's on a streak, isn't he?
He's on a streak.
Yeah, James Ward-Prowse owners keep telling me they're desperate to sell. So, Ruben Neves, do you want to go from one streak and miss it to another streak and miss it?
Hugo Podence.
Go on.
A super differential.
Are these guys really options in your opinion?
Probably not when you're competing against the ones you've said. But
Podence
play the game for fun.
Podence probably does start, doesn't he? Hwang obviously went off early with an injury. Did you hear what that injury was to Hwang?
His back
injury. Okay, so that we've no idea how long that's going to take. Presumably, Trincao seems now out of favour. I don't know. That feels like it's come about since the exact moment that Laporta said, I'm not sure if we can afford to buy Adama Traore, but said in the same press conference, we will still try and buy Erling Haaland this summer. Yep, sure, mate. Another one who needs help, clearly. He's off the table completely, Trincao, isn't he? So Podence, whether it's a 2 or a 3 up front, Podence plays, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's an important player now, especially for Lyle, especially when he's operating in like the spaces in between midfield and attack. He's really important because he's the player that sees things that other players don't see, and the way he turns, he's picked it up because last season he was really annoying. He's still annoying now if he's an opposition fan, but he's a lot better this season.
Okay, so he's been back longer than it feels like. He's been back basically since game week 17. He started all of those fixtures except one, and in that time frame, there were 2 goals and 0 assists.
Yeah, but is it aesthetically pleasing, James? That's what matters. It's all about the vibe, watching Cruyff turns and stuff.
You'll enjoy it. Only.
Kulusevski, Coutinho, Saka, Raphinha. Do I want to stick Podence in there? Let me think about that. It's probably a no for me. He might be one that's a facilitator that does work for certain people. I can think maybe people have kind of gambled on people like Fraser or Willock and want to move one of them on. I think like Podence might fit the bill if you don't have the money in the bank, but I mean, it's not that much more to get up towards like Kulusevski and stuff. You'd go up, wouldn't you, surely?
Yeah, it's a shame Neto isn't fully there yet.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. Are you expecting a 3 in midfield or a 2 in midfield against Leeds?
I have a funny feeling he might go 3,
Because?
I'm not sure. I just feel
because it worked with a 3 against Everton. I mean,
no,
Leeds are completely different, aren't they?
Yeah, sometimes he does things like that. Because I was surprised he went with 3 against Everton, to be honest.
I think he just flooded them out in midfield. To be honest, I think he read into Frank Lampard's comments after the Tottenham game what Lampard was going to do and set up appropriately based on that they'd be shorter of a number in midfield. And I think that probably proved pivotal actually in the final result.
I'd rather he start with the three up front, because Providence, when he plays as like the actual second striker to Jimenez, he's not great. He's better.
I think personally, if I was picking the team for you Friday night, I would go with three up front, because I think primarily it will give challenges to Dallas and Ayling to think about what they're doing. And if that doesn't even work, then fine, pull the 2 6s, as Andy's saying now, pull them out of position if they've got to cover and go and support and go into fullback areas, not something you really want. Then you can have people like Neves come through essentially. And he's definitely stepped up, hasn't he, Neves?
Yeah.
Again, we've spoken about this a few times with him this season. It feels like he's carrying the ball more now as well, taking more ownership.
Yeah, he does. He just strides forward now. He's just getting better and better. And
he's so classy. So classy.
He's world-class player. He's just coming through now. It's because he's got that headband on.
Vibes again.
Did you see because he only signed a new contract, 2 weeks ago or something? Did you see that as a commitment, or did the skeptic in you think we'll get more money for him?
Because no, he ain't signed nothing yet.
Oh, was he not? I thought he had.
Me. No, he's got 2 years left, but
he's off then, isn't he? Sorry, mate.
I think if we get Europa League, I think there's a chance they'll off. He's one of the few players that comes. He does love Wolves.
I don't disagree with that at all. No, he comes across that way.
I mean, he's having tattoos on his arm or something this week about his best time, his best moments for Wolves, and he's vice captain, so he's got it. But unfortunately, it's just the way it goes. Especially Mendes says he's going to go.
Do you know what, Bradley? Every week, one of the correspondents comes onto this podcast and I try and buy one of their players. I don't think Raphinha is obtainable. I don't particularly think Neves is either. But if you're willing to do a price, there is a link between the two clubs. I feel, okay, fine, we'll skip that. If you were buying Neves or Podence on free hit, which one?
Podence.
Mm-hmm. Raul Jimenez, Bradley. Yes or no?
What are the other options?
You're not helping. They're not great, mate.
I mean, it's Lacazette and Kane, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I'm considering at the moment something. I mean, Kane, obviously. Jimenez and one of the Leicester forwards, depending on how I feel about it after their game Thursday night, is kind of what I've got in mind. Your reaction there to my Jimenez question is not good. You called out, we obviously was out drinking together a couple of weeks ago, the night before you played West Ham, and you said to me you should get dropped. And the next day you got dropped. Has he been better since?
He's better against Watford. He was okay against Everton. Rubbish again. When did they start against Palace, did he? So, I mean, he missed 2 games, didn't he? Because he didn't start against Palace either. So
yeah, correct, yeah. Came back in, obviously scored against Watford. How was he at Everton on Sunday?
He was okay. He wasn't like amazing. He just done his job. We got John Joe Kenny sent off.
Yeah.
But
the shit dive that.
He had a terrible bicycle kick. I think that was about it, really.
I've seen it, yeah. The problem with him is, Bradley, when you're free hitting, I think you want to go, and this is where I understand what Andy's saying about Raphinha, is like, if Raphinha has a great day, it could be like a 15-pointer, like he could go off massive. I don't think Jimenez is capable of that.
No. I mean, like, back when before the injury, if he'd have that injury now, we'd just be like, yeah, he's in straight away, because he's 100% consistent. Now it's the opposite, really. It's like drips and drabs. It's kind of sad to watch.
I feel like...
And I think there's going to have to be a conversation in the summer at the hot board at Molineux about what we're going to do with him.
I feel like I want to go for players, ideally, and I will probably bottle this in all honesty. I want to go for players like Raphinha, who I may not do because I'm not convinced that Leeds even score Friday night. But I want to go for players more like that rather than, well, I think Wolves might win 1-0 and I think Jimenez is the most likely scorer. I don't see Jimenez hauling particularly.
No.
And I think that's really off-putting when I want to try and make the gains and get players that, if I go for 6 or 7 players who've got the explosiveness in them and 2 or 3 deliver, then that's more what I'm looking for rather than 4 or 5 times 6 points, basically. So I'm really not sure, because he hasn't. He doesn't strike me that he's capable of getting more than 1 in a game at the moment.
No, I wouldn't. he doesn't really get that many. He just doesn't seem to be in the box, like in the 6-yard box, like he used to be either. Comes quite deep, and then just when he knocks the balls off, he just doesn't.
What would you say to owners after Leeds? They're obviously not selling now; it's fairly obvious. But what would you say about afterwards? Do you think Villa at home, Newcastle away afterwards, people should be looking to move on, or is it a keep? He's consistent. He will get a return, but he doesn't feel.
No.
He feels
He's
like
not consistent now. That's the problem.
He's not. I
can't predict when he's going to do anything anymore.
Is it fair to say, and it feels really harsh, is it fair to say that he's not the player of 18 months ago?
Definitely not. I can see it when he receives the ball. It takes him sometimes 3 touches to just do a simple layoff. Whereas before, he was fantastic. It was like 1 touch, layoff, goal, 1 touch, layoff, goal. And it sped up the attacks. But now he kind of slows it down. And his heading is completely gone. In an attacking sense, he does well defensively when we put him back for a set piece, but when it comes to actually attacking the ball in the opposition box, not the same.
Yeah,
I can't really remember that many headed efforts he's had at goal since he's come back.
No, I spoke about the one against us in game week 2, where I felt he took a step back to try and volley it rather than, I think, the old player would have gone and head it. And I think that's completely understandable why there is a second thought. But I agree. Unfortunately, and it's not to say he can't, but he's not at the level that he was prior to the injury, unfortunately. Touch wood, hopefully that will come back for him.
I think there might have to be a conversation in the summer because he's 31 this year. So they're going to have to think are we going to have to sell him now for a decentish fee?
But do you even get it? Do you even get it now, Bradley? I mean, before the injury 2 years ago, you probably could have 50, 60 million, no problem. That wouldn't come now, would it?
I feel like he'll end up in the MLS, like one of the LA clubs. I can see that.
Okay, right. Now we've got Americans coming for me. It's great. Thanks, Bradley. Jesus. Just Bradley lives in Wolverhampton, not in London, just in case anybody was wondering. So, Andy, Patrick Bamford it is then?
Yeah, no. He's still not up to speed yet. I mean, Bamford looked good first off. I thought he held the ball up well and stuff, but it's good to have him back as a focal point as well. But no, you can't get Bamford.
No, I don't think you can. What would you expect from him minutes-wise on Friday? It feels at the moment that maybe even like 65, 70 might be pushing it, maybe.
Yeah, I think because of the Gelhardt goal, I can see Bamford getting 55 and then Gelhardt getting the last half hour. That's how I see it on Friday.
Gelhardt's one who fits into that. It almost feels like, I guess you're saying, Andy, you don't think Gelhardt will start.
Don't think so. I can't see it. No,
but
no.
There's almost certainly at least a 1-pointer in there, isn't there, this week? And for those who are running through, he's a facilitator to perhaps going to be the transfer that gets you Kane or gets you Son or gets you something similar, isn't he?
Yeah, well, for me, myself, I mean, I've used my bench boost and I've still got a wild card yet. So when I wild card, because I want to put all my money in the first 11, I'm looking at players like Gordon, Gelhardt, as like bench players. Yeah, and Gelhardt for me, if you've used your bench boost, put Gelhardt in there, you might get the odd return off the bench, but as a facilitator, great. There's not any better than under 5 million forwards, is there?
Yeah, I mean, he's the standout. I think there was a little bit of a debate for a while with Adamida at Norwich, but obviously his injuries obviously ruled him out for the season. Gelhardt's going to continue to get 1-pointers. That just feels absolutely ideal for the 4.5 million forward kind of third bench slot. And if it appears at a given time, Watford away, it looks like he's going to start, then stick him in the team by all means. If that's what you want to do, that seems like the idea. And I think, the interest in him is going to grow. I would agree with you, Andy. I think for those wildcarding who have used the bench boost, although most have used it before, then he would go in. But if, like yourself, you wildcarding and not worrying about bench boost, likes of him, Gordon, Amati, Ben Johnson, that sort of things.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then they can fit the 4 or 5 premiums in the first team, can't you? So, yeah.
Any love for 1 week punts on anything like Daniel James, Jack Harrison?
No, unfortunately not. I just wouldn't go there. I think it's just, as you say, you've listed the midfielders that are better options. Bamford's not up to speed, so you can't even think he's going to get 60 minutes. Rodrigo, I mentioned the punt last time I was on. But again, I don't see him completing 90 minutes. And the fact he's reverse out of position as well. So
if you were free hitting this week, Andy, I presume you'd be Raphinha and that's it, is it?
Yeah, Raphinha. I'd still have Raphinha over midfielders you've listed.
Okay.
I think I'd stick him in there. Yeah, I'll be confident with him.
No, I'm not going to rule it out either because, like you said, the ceiling's always high with him. I can't argue that. How many Wolves would you go?
I would probably... I wouldn't go Jimenez. So, and the midfielders don't appeal to me either. So I'd probably just go for one defender. And that, again, I'd be boring as Bradley was and go Cody. Even though I've got Aït-Nouri in my team and I think Aït-Nouri is great, it's just that wrist it doesn't start. Horrible.
All right. We'll be advertising for new correspondents in May if anyone's wondering. Bradley, if you were free hitting, what Wolves would go in?
Because I said it'll start Aït-Nouri.
You'd go Aït-Nouri. You just want to keep your job, didn't you?
If I'm free hitting and having a laugh, let's have Aït-Nouri and Podden. And just go with the vibes. Aesthetic FC.
So genuinely no Jimenez, yeah?
No. It's horrible to say. You might get
but
one
I keep looking at it and going, it's Leeds, isn't it? I mean, is that fair to say that, Andy, still?
Yeah, it's fair to say that. I mean, it's only Norwich, right? We're getting ahead of ourselves after yesterday.
Maybe.
Scraping a win in the 96th minute. But it could come crashing down Friday night with like a proper team you have to play again.
I mean, but that's the point though, isn't it? You still gave up chances. I don't know, realistically, you should have won about 4-1 on Sunday, Andy, get that complete, but you still gave away chances to them, didn't you?
Yeah.
Even as I said, that Pookie chance right at the end, how even at 2-1 do you give away a chance that big? Certainly gave away loads of big chances against Villa. Against Leicester, as said, you were really unlucky. But then, and I know it was Bielsa's team that my team played the week before, but I didn't even feel like Tottenham got out of second gear against you, mate, and created chances fairly comfortably, to be honest. And it was the same for United the week before. It was that. I
mean, those matches are horrible to watch.
The defensive personnel is still the same, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the two number sixes gives me hope that it becomes more of a structure and better foundations to concede less chances. So hopefully they're working with that.
I think if I free hit in Jimenez, I'm free hitting in Jimenez because of Leeds, not because of Jimenez.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me wonder if I should be doing it. And for you, Bradley, and I know you love him to pieces as well, for you to be basically saying no. Yeah, it's forward options in this. I'm going to end up with like Ings and Watkins up front, and I
prefer Ings and Watkins to Jimenez.
I'm going to end up with Iheanacho at one point on the bench. You know? it's fairly obvious, or so, isn't it?
James, if like Daka and Iheanacho play 90 minutes on Thursday, would you go for the other one?
There's every chance I'd go with two midfielders, maybe, I think.
Okay.
And every chance I'd go like Barnes and Maddison or something like that, maybe. Again, because maybe the ceiling on top of it. I don't know. I'm really not going to think about Leicester till late Thursday night. I don't think, to be honest, it's too difficult. I'm definitely going to have something defensively from you, Bradley. I think I've got to. To be honest, I think Johnny's the most likely for me.
Does a job do it, Johnny? Does its job?
Someone had to go there, didn't they? Thanks so much for your time, gents. Bradley, go on, give us a correct score prediction before you finish.
2-0 Wolves.
I'm going for a defensive one, aren't I? And where do you think you finish in leg?
I reckon we'll end up in that Conference League thing.
Seventh,
yeah.
Who do you think finish eighth? So you're going to finish eighth then. All right. Thanks for your time, Bradley. I think you're well capable of pushing on with you. The thing with yourselves is, right, you're solid as consistent. You just get things like the Palace game out the way, mate, and you'd be fine. You got a great chance of pushing for Europe. You got some that you've still got City, Chelsea, Liverpool inside your final six, but a few good fixtures before that and in between as well, actually, mate. Although a few of them fighting to stay up potentially, including Norwich 37, but I guess they might be gone by that point. Andy, go on, correct score prediction.
2-2, 8 Nori brace, Raphinha brace.
Where were you finishing the leg?
17th.
Which three to go down?
Norwich, Watford, Everton.
You think Burnley finished 16th?
I think that the managers, Dean Smith, Lampard, and Roy Hodgson, don't really care about the clubs. They care about themselves. And I think Dyche cares about Burnley, Jesse Marsch cares about Leeds, and Thomas Frank cares about Brentford. So that's why I think those three go down.
All right, I don't know what to say to that. I think we'll just cut the podcast there, I think. Yeah, just as a reminder that Bradley lives in Wolverhampton. I obviously won't disclose Andy Martin's location, but as he tweets so much, I'm sure you can find him on Twitter. Bradley, where can the guys follow you on the Bird app?
At Parker_Bradley.
Fantastic. And yourself, Andy?
It's at FPL_tactician.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. As we're recording very early and I'm trying to get multiple Clash of Correspondents organised for in the middle of the international break, I don't know what's going to be on next, but there will be at least 3 Clash of the Correspondent podcasts during the March international break before we resume in game week 31. It just leaves me to say thanks again to Bradley and to Andy. Good luck this weekend. Cue music, please, man child.